Hey everyone, Jason back here in the basement, actually lit up this time. I'm over here editing some photos for a client, so I thought I'd do a quick video to talk about my vacation before the new year. So Happy New Year to everyone. I know I never said that thus far, so I wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone out there in 2023, giving you all blessings and love and success and health. So before the new year, my wife and I decided to take a trip to Vegas. So right after Christmas, we left for Vegas and came back on New Year's Eve to be with our family, on the day of. So left from Newark, New Jersey to Vegas, single, one stop, no stops, just straight, end to end flight, no issues, no problems. So, very cool trip. So I wanted to document the trip. The last time we've been to Vegas was 2007. That was the last time we were there, a long time ago. And we don't even remember much about the trip except staying at the Flamingo at the time and, getting a timeshare. Yep, which we've been using ever since, by the way. And Flamingo is actually our home place for it, but we never been back since. We use it everywhere else but the Flamingo in Vegas. So this is our inaugural trip back. But we did not stay at the Flamingo. We had a good deal on some other stay in the area, so we decided to just use that. So we stayed on the south end of the strip, and we were at the Grandview, which is right next to the South Point Hotel and Casino. So we were in that end. So to get to the strip, we did a lot of Uber rides and things like that, which worked out pretty well. We budgeted for it, so we knew we were going to rack up those Uber rides, and our feet were definitely hurting because once we did get off our Uber, obviously you had to do some walking to get to wherever you're going to go. So no issues there with that. So yeah, it was fun. So I wanted to document the trip and wanted to decide what to bring. So ultimately, I just wanted to take one sling bag, which I did a video about the Bag Smart camera sling, which I've been using for a long time, and it worked out well. And I wanted one camera and one lens. So I chose the XE3, which I have right here. XE3. I'm shooting on my phone, so everything is flipped. So get used to that because that's how I shoot my videos nowadays. I will, however, probably try to switch over to the XS10, but I just like being able to just publish it from my phone. You know, it's just easier. It's just me talking to you guys. Hopefully you enjoy it. But I chose the XE3 and the 23 millimeter f2, and 35 millimeter is my favorite focal length. I could also swing to 28 and 24 on the widest side, but I prefer to be 28 or 35. 35 probably my favorite of all three. And I have a 16 millimeter 2.8, and I used to have the 18 f2, but because I like to shoot videos, sometimes that didn't work out. So I just chose the 16 2.8 and the 23 f2, and I have all the other f2 lenses as well, along with a Viltrox 85 1.8 for the telephoto end. But I just wanted one camera, one lens to lock down everything, just to shoot everything that I was gonna take. I didn't want to switch lenses. I had the Peak Design leash, had it over my neck, had the Bag Smart bag in case I wanted to put the camera away, and had my power bank and cables, phone, keys, or whatever else, and just shot the whole vacation with just that one lens and one camera. So I've done a similar thing before. Back in the day, I used to have the Canon, the mirrorless M5 with the 22 millimeter f2, so it works out to that 35 millimeter focal length, and I shot with that for a long time, so I'm used to that 35 millimeter focal length. But this was the first time I used the 23 millimeter f2 exclusively and the XE3 exclusively, since these are more recent additions. But I did have an XT1 forever and did the same thing with the 18 f2 and 27 2.8, which are kind of like sandwiched between that 28 and 40 millimeter. So still in that medium wide angle. So I loved it. It felt freeing. I felt I was engaged in the process, but it didn't get in the way, because I felt like in the past I would have like the 18 to 135 zoom lens, and it was big, and with the thing with zooms, and I love the versatility of zooms, especially for an event. But shooting personally, I don't like it because you're constantly changing your idea of what to shoot. When you're shooting an event, the idea is to capture the event. So you're there with a purpose. It's your job to document things. So get what you need to get, change focal lengths. But when you're shooting personally, you should be capturing what you see, right? And for me, I see at 35 millimeters, right? I see the world at 35. You probably really see it at 50-ish, right? 40 to 50. But I also want to capture a little bit more of the scene, and 35 allows me to do that. Our eyes don't zoom, right? We can't zoom in onto a subject far away. So it feels unnatural to me when you're shooting personally to be zooming, right? So the 23 f2 was the perfect lens for me to just capture what I see, and if you're too far away from something, you shouldn't be capturing it, right? You should actually be there, not trying to artificially create something that is not there. And so that's how I approached, shooting that way. And so I think going forward, this is going to be my setup for that, for that travel. And sometimes I may still bring an extra lens. I think sometimes when, maybe when I'm static and I'm sitting somewhere and I'm not moving, I could pop on, say, the 50 f2 to get something that's a little farther away, or kind of shoot ninja style and just get things that I'm far away from, to contradict what I just said, right? But I probably wouldn't use that more than probably 5 to 10% of the time if I had the opportunity in the first place. I'd probably still stick with that 35 because, I'm on vacation or I'm with my family. I want to capture what's intimately around me. If I'm shooting things too far, I'm capturing things that I'm not involved in. And that's how I kind of look at it. So if you use the 23mm f2 or the X-E3, tell me what you like about it. Leave it in the comments below. But here's what I liked about it. I like the form factor. I like the size, it's square. I do have the extra grip and all that, but I decided to really strip it down and keep it just the original out-of-box experience. One of the things that people don't talk about enough with the Fuji cameras is the difference in the grip. And I mean the texture of the grip. To me, the rubberiness of the X-E3, to me, is love. I just love that. And the XT1 had that same rubbery gripness. But the XT2 does not have that. Like, that next generation, I think, of the XTs, they all got this leatherette feel, which is not very grippy to me. So as much as the grip actually might be bigger on the bigger cameras, because it has that leatherette feel, even the XH1 has like this leatherette feel, you don't actually have a good grip on it because it's not rubbery. Something about the rubber is better and it resists movement better, So I like that about this. And, I wish the newer cameras had this. It would make it that much better, But I love that about it. Another thing I liked about it was that it has this auto, switch on it. Hopefully it's focusing. If not, don't worry about it. But there's this auto switch right there. And so no matter what, you have manual controls on the X-E3, but no matter what, if I wanted to give it to someone else, which happened a lot, I gave my camera to someone to take photos of me and my wife somewhere, I could just flip it in auto and they didn't have to think about settings and change things. They just needed to focus and take the shot. They didn't have to think about it the way I would as a photographer to make it, to get the shot in focus, because that's usually an issue. So that's what I liked about it. Another thing I like about it is, like, I configured it to be just everything a button press. That's a common love for the Fuji system, is you could just press a button and everything's right there. You know, that I love that about it. So to me, this is going to be kind of like my EDC, you know, and also I'm thinking that it's competing with my XF10, my point and shoot by Fuji, because the autofocus on this was just so good. It was accurate. It was quick. I never even thought about it the whole time. I don't think I missed a shot. Period. I didn't miss a shot. The XF10, I used it on vacation. And I really enjoyed it, and I got used to the quirks of it. But I'm thinking I would be annoyed to shoot with it nowadays. You know, I know I could do it, and I could just get over my first world problems. Shut up now, Jason. But when you compare it, it's just terrible. The XF10, that point and shoot, is just terrible. I love the form factor. Like, come on, man. Like, this is, to me, probably the perfect size for just any kind of situation. And it's 28 millimeters, so it's a focal length I like. And, you know, as small as the X-E3 is, it's still smaller. And you don't have to worry about changing lenses. But the autofocus, why did they make the autofocus so terrible on this thing? It doesn't make sense why they would do it, you know? Even the X70 wasn't this bad. I had an X70, which it was banged up, so I had to get rid of it. But X70 didn't have that autofocus this terrible, so I don't know what's the deal. But anyway, back to X-E3. Love this camera. If you're looking for an X100 alternative because you can't find one, you got to think about the X-E3. It has still all the buttons, right? You got the back dial, the front dial, you got the swipe motions, you got a function button, you got the joystick, you got buttons on the back right here. I mean, I think this is underrated, really is. You know, 24 megapixels. Some people like the X-E2, and I think the X-E2 is probably the same generation as the X-E1, which I love. I love it. My favorite camera ever. But I think if you need, this is a little smaller than X-E2, and you got the step up in megapixels, and this touchscreen. So I think that gives you a couple things that has over this, that this has over that one, that I think the X-E3 still competes in that X100 alternative debate that's going on all over YouTube right now. So check it out.